Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and pray for Supervisor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This evening we come together as a board. Let us remember the good that has come out of our discussions of the past 6 years on the resolutions before us tonight, and to show patience and resolve to work together for the common good of the county. Let us remember, when we walk out the door this evening, that we are still friends and neighbors. In your name we ask this, O Lord. Amen.
Amen. Okay, roll call. Looks like we have everyone present, correct? Yes, 20. What did I tell Mr. Felt last month? We have 20 here tonight. And we do. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Supervisor Swaggle, second by Supervisor Kroll. Any discussion of the agenda? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve the previous county board minutes? Supervisor Augustine, second by Supervisor Haskey. Do we have any discussion, questions, corrections on those minutes? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Citizens input.
The board will hear concerns members of the public wish to raise, but will not discuss or take action on any matter until the matter can be placed on an agenda with proper notice to the public. The board welcomes citizens to present their concerns to the board in a professional manner relevant to issues affecting Kewaunee County. Each citizen may take 3 minutes to present their concern, and the board has allotted a total of 20 minutes for this portion of the meeting. Please be mindful, the board may halt any disruptive comments and any comments that are threatening, vulgar, or abusive. Pat Benish.
Yes, I have concerns. We have ARPA money, and at one time I was understanding these meetings would be Zoom. I turned on a couple of meetings this month, nothing. I think they should be for people that can't make it and watch them. They can watch at their own personal time. Safety meeting was last Wednesday, nothing on Zoom. I have 3 representatives representing me in the town of Casco. I see 1 representative from county board once a month if I do attend a meeting. The other 2 I have not seen on the Casco town board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jay Massler.
Good evening. I sent an email to every board member a few days back, and I got 1 response back that read, my question and my opinion is that I was in law enforcement for 32 years in Green Bay. I went through Brown County when they built their jail, and it was well needed. Our jail system is past that stage. We need to move forward with it. If this had been done 10 years ago, we'd have something at a lot more jail and a lot cheaper. By going forward, we're kicking the can down the road, just like it's been done for 10 or 15 years, and the taxpayers are going to pay more. Thank you.
Thank you. That was all the consent. Eddie, does anyone else wish to speak to the board? Does anyone else wish to speak? Members of the public? Anyone else wish to speak? I do have 1 other that was sent to me, and that was sent, was asked to share this with the board members. It was sent to me by, says the Honorable Jeffrey R. Wisnicki. I'm glad to see that he's honorable. Chairman Olson, please accept this letter in support of moving forward with the jail project. I encourage you and the Board of Supervisors to approve moving forward on the jail project without a referendum. First, we have a well-designed project. I have served and participated in many of the jail study committees over the years, and I've watched the jail be honed and shaped into the project it is today. A lot of thoughtful planning has gone into designing a jail tailored to meet the needs of Kewaunee County for today and into the foreseeable future. The committee members, staff, and architects scrutinized and justified each element of the current project, and the result is a plan that contains no more than is necessary without compromising on the essential elements necessary to ensure operations run as efficiently as possible. The new jail design does not contain any unnecessary spaces or frills, in my opinion. Second, our current jail is at end of life. While I am sure the county could spend a lesser sum of money to limp our existing jail along a bit further, these quick fix stopgap measures only prolong the inevitable. Stopgap measures will not remedy the core deficiencies of bed capacity, space for programming, and safety and security for inmates and staff. Significant remodeling would be required to address the core deficiencies of our existing jail, and a remodeled jail will still not be as efficient to operate as the new jail design. We must remember that we will eventually pay off our loan for the bricks and mortar, but the operational cost will endure forever. Third, we need a jail to keep our community safe. Far too often, law enforcement, the district attorney, and the court have to make public safety compromises by letting people out of custody because of the limitations of our jail. While I agree not every individual needs incarceration, our community still demands that we hold criminal offenders accountable and we keep dangerous individuals off the street. Further, when offenders are in the jail, we need to be able to offer them services to address their needs, including addiction and mental health. The new jail design will provide us the opportunity to meet our public safety objectives. Finally, now is the time. This is the biggest capital improvement project in our county's history, and the road to a decision was rightfully long and painstaking. We have arrived at decision time, and you now have a unique opportunity to solve a critical county function for the next 3+ generations. I'm certain history will judge your decision to move forward on this new jail project as wise, financially prudent, and forward-thinking. The citizens of our county elected you to investigate and gather all the necessary information to make these difficult decisions. The obvious and best choice is before you. Make the choice and let us move forward with a new jail. Thank you in advance for your thoughtful consideration of this important matter. Sincerely, Honorable Jeffrey R. Wosticki, Circuit Court Judge. All right, moving on to appointments.
Local Emergency Planning Committee, Joseph Salins.
Do I have a motion? Supervisor Vollenweider? Second, Supervisor Langto. Any discussion? Yes, Supervisor Teske.
I would just like to know who that is.
Mr. Felt, do you want to give us a little background on?
I'm sorry, what is the committee again? I was.
The Local Emergency Planning Committee, Joseph, how do you pronounce it? Salem? We can't even pronounce his name. So.
Typically, I receive recommendations from the Emergency Management Director, and I'm assuming that Mr. Salins had previously been a member of the committee, and so if they indicate a willingness to serve again, then I reappoint.
But he's not, he doesn't work for emergency management here, does he?
No, he does not. A private citizen.
Other discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Annual reports and other reports to the board. Mr. Felt?
For the sake of brevity, I have none, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we will move on to committee reports. Any questions on any of the meetings, minutes, any of these committees? I do have one question I just want to get out there, Mr. Felt. Were we able to get back? Bud Tussle is obviously has begun laying the fiber for the 69.5-mile project that extends to Algoma. I've had a lot of questions on this yesterday and through today, and obviously they're digging here in the village And I know people sometimes watch these meetings, so maybe we could, you might do a better job than me if we could just give a synopsis of it. I know that we've heard timeline on when Buck Tussle will complete that, but just to explain to people what this project is and why we're doing it.
Certainly, I can try to give a general summary. Phase one was regarding towers. Currently, there are 8 towers or relocates on existing towers that are up and running. We have another one that will be coming up. That's the one in the town of Carlton. That should be online by September. They're still looking for a tower location in the Tisch Mills area, but otherwise, from the tower standpoint, that has been moving along quite well. We know that currently they are putting in the ground 22 miles of fiber right now, and that they're also looking at another 42 that they have zoned and have permits for. And then the phase 3 of the project will be another 62 miles of fiber that will go through the county. What you're talking about, Mr. Chair, is what you're starting to see is with the laying of this fiber, they had been doing some of the rural areas, but they're now going into some of the cities and villages as well. And the reason for that is what we're trying to do is have a fiber connection to what are considered anchor institutions, which are the city halls, the town halls, those types of things. So what you're starting to see in Luxembourg and in Algoma is that fiber will be going to those city halls. And while that is happening, that means that there's going to be some disturbing or upsetting of ground and yards, of which for the village of Luxembourg, I know that Ensight had just done a project which was bringing fiber to the home. So there might be some concern by residents of Luxembourg about why is their yard being upset a second time. I feel for them, and I can understand their concern why that should happen a second time. Because these are utilities, this is not uncommon that whether it would be a yard, whether it would be a road, that things get dug up and tore up, and then after it's done, it should be put back to its previous state. So I ask for patience from the residents of Luxembourg that this is just a temporary thing, but it will help to provide the connectivity with Luxembourg to Kewaunee and allow the county to be able to provide not only service to our facility here at the fairgrounds, but could also have opportunities to have combined services with the village and town.
Right. And we are working at the time frame on how quickly that will be done. We're working, I know, as efficiently as possible, and hopefully we'll have that information. And, you know, it's kind of like road construction. You know, everybody hates it, but it's kind of one of those things in life that's hard to avoid. So we'll keep working on that. All right. Any questions on any of the other minutes? So forth. All right. We'll go on first reading of ordinance. There are none. Consideration of resolutions. The letters A through E are for bridge aid. If there are no objections from the board, we could take all of those together, if that's acceptable. Okay. Do I have a motion for those? Supervisor Lutz, second by Supervisor Patricia. Discussion on those on the request for bridge aid. All right. Seeing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll move on to the next one. Sorry, I didn't
Okay.
jump the gun.
Banning the acceptance of donations and grants from any non-governmental entity for the administration of Kewaunee County elections.
Do I have a motion? Supervisor Bullenweider, second by Supervisor Haskey. Discussion. All right, Supervisor Swaggle.
It sounds, if we're banning the money of donations or grants from a non-government, probably private, it sounds like a very good thing. Thank you.
Any other questions? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
I need the name recorded. Supervisor Lazansky. Motion carries. Resolution, we'll break to the next resolution.
A resolution approving the design and construction of a new county jail facility. Fiscal impact statement. Fund balance general fund, 1,500,540. Fund balance debt service fund, 703,165. Grant, ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act, 2,413,295. And debt new bond issue, 21 million. Uses of funds, capital project, new jail construction costs, 25,617,000.
What was G? On the agenda? Okay. Do I have a motion? Supervisor Mastaler, second by Supervisor Lazansky. Do we have discussion? Supervisor Swaggle.
Good evening. Thank you all for being here, the concerned citizens also. Going around, I'm going to make this very brief about my running for state assembly, but for 400 signatures going around, most of the people I talk to, a broader group than just the 20-some we need for nomination papers running for this office as here as county supervisor. The majority of people told me, very strong majority of people told me that they did not want the jail. So and past county board supervisor Jack Wolfus, who did not choose to stay on the board, also told me he did not want the jail. And I am voting no for the jail because of the cost and because of the way it was situated and how the planning went. And most of the people told me no. Thank you.
Supervisor Romgan.
At the Finance Committee earlier this evening, we amended this resolution. In the third whereas, it says, whereas the jail subcommittee along with the Finance Committee. We struck the Finance Committee because the Finance Committee really never agreed with the design or the price of this project. So that was eliminated from that. And then the fourth whereas, it should say, whereas the jail subcommittee believes it's in the best interest of the county to expedite the bidding, etc. So that was an amendment to the resolution that's in front of you.
Other discussion? Supervisor Coffey.
I have one question for Administrator Felt, and I guess just for the record to explain how we would fund future projects, large future projects.
Certainly, Supervisor Coffey. We know that this is the largest project that the county has ever taken on. But I also, as an administrator, need to think beyond just this project. And therefore, while we'll be using a number of funds from 25.6 down to 21, so about $4.6 million, the county will still have additional funds available looking for capital projects as they come up. And I can give some examples. Currently, at the end of 2021, our unassigned general fund balance was approximately $7.1 million. We know that for this project, we will be applying roughly about 1.43 million of that fund balance, of that unassigned fund balance towards this project, which leaves us roughly about 5.7. That 5.7, as a financial policy standpoint, we try to keep that unassigned fund balance anywhere between the range of 25% to 35%. And even with the application of this fund balance, we are still in excess of that 35%. And part of the reason why, if you remember from past conversations, is that the Human Services Fund at the time was in deficit, so we were keeping some extra money in that respect. In addition, Supervisor Poppy, there will be payments for loans that we have been doing with Bug Tussle. A perfect example is that the first loan that we had, we are receiving for the next 11 years about $92,000 in loan payments. Our second loan, which will go after 2024, that will be loan payments in the amount of roughly $218,000. We still have roughly about $1.3 million in our economic development fund. So from that standpoint of being able to continue to look at our capital projects and our buildings, I believe that we have sufficient money to continue to address those issues as they come forward.
Thank you. Any other questions? Supervisor Teske?
I have a couple of questions. How many beds is this jail gonna be? I just want to make sure.
The beds is 52 expandable to 85.
And on that grant, that ARPA money, that 2.4, is that all of that money, or is there still some left over?
That would use up the remainder of ARPA money that the county has. We had received roughly about $4 million in ARPA funds. $2.2 million of that was loaned to Bug Tussle for the fiber project. With that fiber project, they are making payments back to the county, and as part of the ARPA guidelines, those payments prior to 2024 again have to be spent. So the payments of those ARPA dollars plus the remaining ARPA dollars is what gets you to your 2.2.
And I do want to clarify, even though I know we put this out there many times, the 52 beds, we did look, the study committee spent a lot of time, Supervisor Poppy can attest, on the size of the facility. And in the end, by reducing the size, we could have reduced the size quite substantially, but the savings for doing that would have been roughly, on a project of this size, would have been roughly $1 billion. So it's not equivalent. I know people hear the size, the number of beds, and they think, well, we could cut this in half. That's oftentimes what's suggested, save a lot of money. It is not like your home, where if you start out with 300,000 square feet and then reduce it down to 1,500 square feet, you cut it in half. It does not work that way on jails. And we can go through, I could spend a lot of time here going through and explaining why that doesn't work, but it just doesn't on jails. So that was why, for that small savings, we could not see that it would be worth, the risk of taking on a project like this and undersizing it to that amount of savings. Other questions? Supervisor Lukes?
I know the project has a price tag on it, but there's going to be cost overruns. Price of material is going to go up. Is there enough money put aside to cover them costs?
We do two different things. I'll first give the basic answer of, we can never predict the future as to exact costs, but what we do from the cost estimating of a project like this, you always have a certain percentage that is put into contingency for cost overruns and the like. We feel confident in the cost estimate that was brought forward before us. And as the project gets out there, we'll have a better idea when we start to put out bids. And the great thing about it is that you can put out bids and you're not beholden to the first set of bids that come in. If you don't like them, we can always wait and rebid at a later date as well.
Other questions? Supervisor Teske?
When it comes to this vote, I'm asking for a paper ballot.
Okay, those paper ballots will still be announced, the names. I mean, they will still be public. The paper ballots, we can take paper ballots and collect them, but when they're counted, it will be, the name of the supervisor will be read with the vote. I just want to make sure that's clear, and it's a public vote. So, But we can certainly take those paper ballots when the time comes. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, we're going to pass out the ballots. Be sure to put your name on the ballot. Otherwise, we'll have to redo this. Your name must be on there. We'll verify that we have 20. There's some that came into this direction. They are all signed. If it's up to you, doesn't matter to me. Whatever you're most comfortable with.
I have 19 yes and 1 no. The no is Mr. Swagel.
All right. The motion passes. We'll move on then to the next resolution whenever you're ready. And
Initial resolution authorizing general obligation bonds and or promissory notes in an amount not to exceed 21 million for the construction of a new county jail facility.
do I have a motion? Supervisor Poppy, Supervisor Langenthal, second. Is there discussion? Very well. We will, Supervisor Roundon.
I believe that this vote requires a two-thirds majority.
Thank you, sir. It does require three-fourths, which would be 15.
Three-fourths.
Yes. Thank you for checking my math. I was confident of that. Yes. Very well. So we do need 3/4 vote for this to be a yes. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Nay. And the nay, hold your head. Okay, that's Supervisor Swagel. 19-1, motion carries. All right. Consideration of ordinance read at previous county board meeting. We have none. Moving on to communications, resolutions from other counties.
From St. Croix County, a resolution to request state revise the current real estate transfer fees revenue sharing formula.
That's it. Do I have Kewaunee County events? No events? Slow times in Kewaunee County. Okay. Supervisor Rondon.
I don't have an event, but I understand that the fair was very successful this year for everyone involved.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I don't know if we obviously wouldn't have any numbers yet, but wow. If you if you got anywhere near it even, I think if you lived in the village, yeah, I would think they must have had some pretty good numbers on that. So that was exciting to see. All right, no other county events. So, comments from the chair. I have some tonight. I do not normally have prepared comments for these meetings. However, this seems like a moment for posterity. Most people know that the county has struggled with the jail issue for over 20 years. During my time involved with this, there have been two things that have stood out. One, everyone agrees that there is a problem with the current jail. Two, no one agrees on how to solve that problem, which is related largely to the county's ability to pay for any available solution. Talk of the previous recall of the board, way back 20-some years ago, and other history reinforced the point that this has been a highly contentious issue. Tonight, the issue has finally been resolved. I have often said, half joking, that there is no problem so great that we can't ignore it if we really put our minds to it. When I took over as the chair of the board over 2 years ago, I knew that this issue would not be able to be ignored. I can honestly say that I had very little desire, if any, to become involved in this matter. I asked the former chair if he would be willing to continue to chair the previously appointed jail study committee. He declined. Very smart man. By default, I felt that it fell to me, at least to take over as chair. Some of you will recall the previous committee that had been appointed to bring forth recommendations to the board on how to proceed. You will also recall that the previous committee's recommendation on how to proceed failed. The previous committee was constructed very differently than the current jail study committee. The people involved with that committee were all good people, very talented individuals, and had a strong desire to serve their community. It also became obvious to me early on that the previous committee was not going to be able to bring about the consensus that was needed to achieve a solution to this problem. I established a new committee. That smaller committee was made up of supervisors, some who were strongly in favor of a new jail, some who were strongly opposed, and some maybe in between. I determined that every meeting of that committee would be open to the public. The process would need to be completely transparent if it was to have broad support. That committee set out to find a solution that would work for Kewaunee County. Wouldn't it be something if we could get leaders at other levels of government to use the same approach to the problems facing our nation? You may recall that the project started out at $37 million, and that was prior to today's inflation. If we adjusted those numbers, I would guess that we would be looking at a minimum of $45 million today, possibly more. We were also looking at adding $400 to $500 to the average home in taxes per year, in part due to staffing that would have added 8 new positions. Those were numbers that I would not have supported, and I know that I am not alone on that. I cannot count the number of meetings that were held, the amount of time spent, and the effort that has gone into getting where we are today. The committee came up with a project that is uniquely suited to our county. We were able to get this project down to approximately $25 million with only approximately $21 million going out the bond. We were able to get down to 5.5 additional positions. Most important, we were able to get the cost to the taxpayer down to just over $40 for the average home in the county. That is an extraordinary achievement, and the support demonstrated here tonight demonstrates that. It is no secret, I don't believe, that I began this process opposed to a new jail. Contrary to what is suggested at times, I do occasionally change my mind. Those occasions are fairly rare. I can assure you that every possible alternative was explored. Every detail of this current project was evaluated and questioned. I am confident that we have done due diligence and that this is the best path forward. No one got everything that they wanted. This project represents a great deal of compromise. I will also say that in the past, it has been my opinion that it was in the interest of the taxpayer to delay this project. I do believe that millions of dollars were ultimately saved through delay. However, regardless of your opinion on that, it is my opinion that the opposite is true at this point. It is no longer in the interest of the taxpayer to delay. it is time to act as we have here tonight. There have been many occasions over the years when I have been fortunate enough to have done little more than to be sitting in the right place. Tonight is one of those occasions. I have been privileged to be surrounded by a lot of hardworking and talented people throughout this project. I cannot count or list all of the people who have gotten us to this point. It was indeed a team effort. This would not be possible without the supervisors involved, all of the time spent by the administrator and his staff, and the seemingly limitless energy devoted by the sheriff and his department. I could go on, listing the contributions made by so many, knowing that I would still leave someone out. I want to thank everyone who has played a role in bringing the many parts of this project together. I also want to thank the supervisors here tonight for their interest and hard work on this. I want to thank you for your vote here tonight. In the end, without your vote in support of this project, none of the previous work that took place before tonight would have mattered. Again, I want to thank all of those who have been involved in this process and worked so hard towards solving this problem. We have tackled a problem that has eluded solution in the past. We have found a solution that has strong support and is affordable for the citizens of the county and will serve the county for many years to come. I believe that we have served the citizens of the county well with this decision here tonight. Thank you. Next date, August 16th at 6 p.m., previously scheduled. September 13th, also previously scheduled. And after tonight, we will obviously be back at the county board room. So the next one, October the 18th, is proposed. Motion by Supervisor Poppy, second by Supervisor Romden. Is there discussion on that date? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn. Supervisor Dell, second by Supervisor Langto. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you.